Hello, in this video I'm going to be showing you how to teleport a player to another place using the teleport service. Using custom loading screen GUIs and teleport data, meaning we can transfer a message to the other server. Now in this example that I've created, you can see that you can input a message, such as hello, and then once we press the teleport button, a loading GUI will appear, and then as we teleport to the other place, our message will be displayed here as hello. Now let's get started on how to build this for ourselves. Okay, so now in our scripting world, we're going to start by designing the actual GUI which you press to teleport yourself to the other game. And it's really easy to do. So we're going to go into Starter GUI, we're going to insert a screen GUI, and we're going to add another child to that, a frame. Okay, there. We're going to go into the properties of the frame, and we're going to see size. Now, as you can see, there's two different values of size. There's X and there's Y. And inside that, there's scale and offset. Now, offset is how many pixels across the display of the GUI is. Now, because on a big screen like mine, there's lots of pixels. However, if we're on a phone, there isn't as many pixels. So we need to use scale instead of offset. Now scale is the percentage of how much the screen is taken up by that GUI. So it will 100% of the time be in that place, no matter what screen size you have. So we need to make the size of our GUI a scale instead of an offset. That's really easy to do. So we go to 0.1, then 0.1 again. And we can change this to whatever we like, so 0.05, 0.05. Now I kind of like that size, so I'm going to leave it like that. Now I'm going to change the position. Now automatically when you move this, you'll notice that it actually changes the scale. That's perfect, that's exactly what we want to happen. Then we're going to drag that until the center line, the green center line, comes across the screen, and that's how you want it. That'll be the center on every single display, and then we're going to move that slightly out of the screen. Okay, so the first thing we need to do now is insert a text button. Now that's going to be the button which we press to teleport ourselves to the other game. So go into here, we press text button, and then we need to change the size of the text button to be all the way across. And then 0.5 down. That's halfway down and all the way across the frame. And then we can change the text of that to be teleport. And then we can set it so the text is scaled. We also need to make the background transparency of that to be 1. So later we can change the frame to have a nice stylish look to it. And next, we need to insert a text box. And this is going to be where the user inserts their message to. Again, we're going to change the size of this to be 1 and 0.5. And that's going to be, again, all the way across, halfway down, but we want to change it so that it is halfway down. Oh, sorry there. That is halfway down this side of the screen. And then we can change the placeholder text to the text that appears before the user types their message in. So it will be insert your message, and then once they click on it, the text will go away and then they can insert their message. So you just type your message. Like that. And then we can delete the text because we don't want that. So we'll just say your message. And then we can scale that text up. So again, once the user pressed it, and they start typing, you see the message goes away. That's the placeholder text. Okay, so now with our scripting, we want to go to the text button, so here. I want to insert a local script. In this script, we need to start by creating our services that we're going to use. So that's going to be the teleport service. the replicated storage service. And the player service. Okay, we're going to use the teleport service to teleporting the player to the other game. We're going to be using the replicator storage service to get the loading screen that we're going to store there. And we're going to use the player service to get the local player, so the actual player who is running this script. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get that local player. We're going to say local player equals players.local player. And that's the player that is currently running the script. And then we're going to get the player GUI. So in each player, there's a folder inside the player that normally we here called player GUI. And inside of that, that's all of the GUIs that are currently running on that player. So we're going to get that folder. Okay, now we're going to get the loading screen. Now we're actually going to make this later on in the video. However, we need it for this script, so we're going to insert it in now. So, local loading screen equals replicator storage dot wait for child loading. Now our loading screen will be called loading, and we'll make that again later on. And now we're actually going to call our text button here. We're going to call it a variable. We're going to say local text button is the script parent, which it is. So this is the script, it's parent, it's the text button. Then we're going to get the text box, this one here. And it's the text button dot parent. Then we get it's child's parent, and then it's a text box. So again, it's the text the text buttons parent, and then it's finding the child of that, the text box. It's finding the text box. Now we're going to see when the player presses on the teleport GUI. Then we're going to do that by saying text button dot mouse one button click, and then we're going to make it into a function. So when they click it, run that. Okay, the first thing we need to do once the player has touched the teleport button is to put the loading screen on the player screen. Now we're going to do that by cloning the loading screen and then placing that onto the player screen. Now we're cloning it because we don't want the next player to use the same loading screen as the previous player. So then we're going to say that loading screen dot parent needs to be the player GUI, and again that's the GUI that the player sees at the time. Okay, this is where it gets a little bit complicated. Now we're going to set that loading screen to be the teleport to GUI. So this is how the other place is going to retrieve the loading screen GUI. So we're going to say teleport service dot set teleport to GUI is the temp loading screen. And then we're going to say the teleport data. So again, that's the data that we're going. Okay, next we're going to make the teleport data. Again, that's the data that's going to be sent to the other place. It needs to be the message that the player has sent. Now we're going to retrieve that message by saying local teleport data is the text box dot text, and that's the current text inside the text box. And then here we're going to teleport the player to the next place. So we're going to say teleport surface dot teleport dot teleport is the place ID Now, my one is here. Now, this can be whatever you like. You need to get the place ID of the place you want to teleport the player to. And then when you say the player that actually needs to be teleport, that's player. And the teleport data. That's data that we're going to transfer to the other server. Okay, it's really easy to do, and that's all we need to do for this part of the system. And the next part we need to do is make that loading screen. Now we're going to start that, we're going to replicated storage, and setting up a new screen GUI. Now again, we have to call that loading, because we use the name in the script. The first thing we're going to do in here is we're going to select ignore GUI inset. And that basically means that it will override the top bar, which is useful for a loading screen. I'm going to disconnect, reset and spawn. Now thinking about that, we probably need to do the same thing for the teleport button screen GUI as well. So disconnect, reset and spawn here as well. So both here and here, no reset and spawn. Okay, so back in the loading GUI, we now need to insert a frame. Now this frame needs to be across the whole screen. So if I demonstrate, if I move it over to the screen GUI so we can see it, this is the current frame that we got. We now need to move it so it's over the whole screen. Now we can do that by changing the size to be 1, 1. And that will now be over the whole screen as you can see. Now we can make that a nice little colour. Like my one in my example, I'm going to make it a greyish colour. And we're going to insert a title to that. So that's text label. And this can be whatever we want. So we're going to name this teleporting to, and then the place name. So it can be tweakified house. That's my place name. And then we want text scale to be true. Okay, now we need to position that so it's correctly in the frame. So we're going to go to size, the first thing we need to do, and we need to change the size so it is all the way along the screen, and then 0.1 down. Then we change the background colour of this to be 1, and the position of this, so the position, to be all the way down in the centre, as you'll see. Now you can make your GUI to be whatever you like. I'm going to mess around with the font a little bit. I think that looks quite nice. Now you can make this whatever you like. And we're going to be extending on the loading GUI system in the next episode. So we'll have a nice little assets loading screen. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do inside this loading GUI is we're going to place it back into replicated storage. That's where it needs to be. Okay, so now we're inside the actual world we're going to teleport our player to. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do inside here is we're going to replicate it first. Make sure not to put it in replicated storage, but replicate it first. And we're going to put a local script inside. Now this is going to be the script that gets the data that is being transferred from the other world to the new world and put it on a GUI saying your message is this. And it's going to also get the custom loading GUI which we got in the other script, and we're going to put it on this game until the game has been fully loaded, and then it will remove the GUI automatically. So the first thing we need to do here is we need to make the GUI which the message will be displayed on. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into Starter GUI and we're going to insert a Screen GUI. Now we can name it whatever we want. We're going to name it Message Receiver. Now from here we're going to insert a frame, and we're going to position this frame so it is horizontally across the screen. So we change the size so as it goes all the way across, 0.1 down. And then from here we can change the background transparency to be 0.5, give a nice stylish look, and change the position so that it is 0.5 down, halfway down the screen. So we can move it like this until it is halfway. Okay, from here we're going to insert a text label, and we're going to make it all the way across the screen. So we're going to change the size so it goes all the way across the frame like that, and we're going to change the position so it's 0, like it is now. We're going to change the background transparency so it's 1, so you can see all the way through it. And we're going to make the text scaled. This is where it will say your message was there. So it will say your message was there. Now, that's our GUI done. So we're going to make that now a child of the local script in replicated first. We're going to drag and drop that there. Hopefully that all makes sense. Now inside our local script, we're going to insert the following script. We're going to get first of all, we're going to get our services. So again, that's going to be local teleport service. Is game.getService teleport service. Okay, that's all the services that we need. So we're going to, first of all, we're going to get the player, again, the local player that's running this script. So we're going to say local player equals players.local player. Then we're going to get their player GUI again. So we're going to say local player GUI equals player, wait for child, player GUI. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get the loading screen which was transferred over from the previous game to this one. We're going to get that by saying local loading screen equals teleport service, get arriving teleport GUI, and then we're going to say if that actually exists, then continue on the script, because they might have just joined the game by pressing the join button instead of being teleported over from the other game. In that case, there won't actually be a loading screen, so we need to make sure that there actually is a loading screen before we continue. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the Roblox default loading screen. We'll do that with this. This basically, whenever you join a game, there's a Roblox default loading screen that waits until a couple of assets have been loaded before the player can continue on with the game. Now we're going to remove that and replace it with our own one. And then we're going to oh, I just had dinner, so I'm a bit sorry, Wiz. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to remove the Roblox default loading screen. So basically, whenever a player joins the game, they have a loading screen that is defaultly given by Roblox in all games. And this waits until a couple of assets have been loaded in the game before the player is allowed to play the game. Now we need to remove that, and we're going to replace it with our own one. And I'm going to do that, so we've replicated first, remove default loading screen. It's easy. And then we're going to override our new one on the player GUI. So we say loading screen dot parent is the player GUI. Okay, the player GUI is the thing that the player sees at the time. So we're going to make the loading screen that we got from the other game the current player's player GUI. Okay, so that's going to make it so that the loading screen is on the player's GUI, and then we need to wait until the game is fully loaded, and then we're going to remove the loading screen from the player. So we're going to say repeat wait 0.1 until game not loaded. Now that's going to wait until the game is loaded before continuing on with the script. Then easily we're just going to do loading screen dot destroy, and that's going to destroy the loading screen after the player has used it. Okay, so that's going to insert the loading screen to the player. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to get the player teleport data and we're going to display it on their screen. So again, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get the teleport data. And that's done with this. Get to local teleport data. Now again, same with the loading screen, they might have not joined using the teleport button. They might have joined from pressing the play button, so we need to say if the teleport data actually exists. Let's do that with this. So the teleport data does exist, then continue on with the script. The next thing we need to do is we need to find... Okay, so the next thing we need to do is we need to set the teleport data to the GUI message. Now we're going to do that with first of all getting the GUI that we got here, message receiver. So we're going to get that with local message receiver GUI. Oh, if I can spell, here we go. It's a script dot find first child message receiver. So that's going to get our GUI. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to change the text labels text, so that's the your message is text, to our message. Now we're going to do that with message receiver GUI, wait for child. Sorry, find first child, then we can find the frame. Then afterwards we're going to find the text label. Now I'm going to change the text label's text to be your message is, and then the teleport data. Okay, the next thing we need to do is we actually need to make it so that this GUI is in the player GUI. Again, they can't see it in replicated first. The player can only see what's on their screen if it's inside player GUI. So that's what we need to do. We need to say message receiver GUI dot parent is the player GUI. Okay, so that's the end of our script. So if we publish our changes and test it, hopefully we've done everything right and it'll all work. Okay, so we're now in our testing tutorial world and we're going to test our teleport GUI that we just made. So we're going to insert a message being hello, and we're going to press the teleport button. As you can see, the teleport custom loading screen appears. It's teleported us to the other game now, and it's displaying our message, which is hello. So everything works perfectly. I hope that helped, and I hope that gave you a better understanding of the teleport service with custom loading screens and teleport data. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks!